What is the one movie you always recommend to others? Tremors. But it's often a hard sell. There's not a line or a scene out of place. Galaxy Quest. The Thing. I love that movie. Young Frankenstein. Best in Show. I prefer this as Spinal Tap. But I think Best in Show has broader appeal. Kiss Kiss Bang Bang. Robert Downey Jr. and Val Kilmer have such good chemistry. My Cousin Vinny. ETA. And if you like this one, watch Greedy. 1994. By the same director. The Iron Giant. You Are Who You Choose to Be. Tucker and Dale vs. Evil. Most people I know haven't seen it, and it's way better than anyone would think at first glance. It's also impossible to explain, you just have to watch it. Oh Brother. Where Art Thou? Airplane. The Matrix. It's how I would dial in my sound system. The Count of Monte Cristo. Emperor's New Groove. Tombstone. Really good movie with an amazing cast. Flew under the radar because the early 90s weren't exactly a Haiti for westerns. Shaun of the Dead. Treasure Planet. It's a steampunk, space adaptation of Treasure Island, and it's an amazing movie. Part of the Disney Renaissance. The Prestige. It's a pretty wild cat and mouse between Wolverine and Batman that keeps you switching who to root for. Edit. Well damn. This is what it feels like to have likes and comments? Sweet. Thank you for the silver. Sir or madam. My coffee will taste more coffeeier this morning. Blade Runner. The original. New one was enjoyable too, but I haven't seen it enough times to fully ingrain its message. Children of Men. Nothing like a dystopian potential near future where a pandemic has decimated the world as we know it. People are locked in detention camps. There's a police state happening. But you can still get coffee. The Truman Show. One of my absolute favorites. Really messed with my head for a day or two after watching. What We Do in the Shadows. A Fish Called Wanda. Kevin Kline won a Best Supporting Actor Oscar for this comedy, playing an inept ex-CIA operative. With John Cleese, Michael Palin, and Jamie Lee Curtis. Also starring Tom Georgeson as George Thomason. Howl's Moving Castle. Edit. Thank you for the gold. Kind Stranger. 12 Angry Men. Edit to add. Thank you for the gold. My first. And also thank you for the silver. Also my first. Back to the Future if they haven't seen it. Also. Clue. Blazing Saddles. Spirited Away. The Princess Bride. It's a classic, and if you haven't seen it, you are missing out on one of the most quotable movies. Snatch and Fantastic Mr. Fox. Monty Python and the Holy Grail. I wasn't expecting that reaction. But that's okay. The Blues Brothers. How to Train Your Dragon. Classic. Hot Fuzz. I cannot believe I don't see it at the top. Incredible acting. Dry humor. Action that simultaneously parodies action movies and is fantastic in its own right. Genuine suspense. The First Time Through. And the impeccable pairing of Simon Pegg and Nick Frost. Edge of Tomorrow. It's fun and exciting in an accessible way, while still being original for a movie. It also has enough details and interesting concepts that you'll likely be thinking about it for a good bit after finishing it. What's it about? Think Groundhog Day. But an alien species is taking over the planet. Groundhog Day. Lawn. The Professional. Pleasantville. I think it was overlooked because it was advertised as a light comedy. But it really only is one for the first half hour or so. The Grand Budapest Hotel. Good Will Hunting. The Fifth Element. Dead Poets Society. The Burbs. Fargo. District 9. About Time. Most people have never heard of it, and it's arguably one of the best movies ever made. Ratatouille. Disney's Hercules. Hades. Performance is flawless and makes the Ihale movie excellent. One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. The Orphanage. It's in Spanish, but it's pretty awesome. Moon. The themes of isolation and betrayal are perfect for a quarantine. The Departed. Lock, Stock and Two Smoking Barrels. And Snatch. Two movies I love that always get blank stares when I tell people about them. Whiplash. Shawshank Redemption. Edit. Wow, my most points and first award. Thanks Fuzzy Britches. Edit. Awards. Brooks was here. Apocalypse Now. Inglourious Bastards. Jaws. It's actually not that scary despite the reputation. And it's a great peek into the 1970s. The Abyss. Such an underrated and seldom talked about movie. Truly an outstanding sci-fi movie with some of the best practical effects ever done. The filming conditions were so harsh that most of the actors refused to even talk about the movie. Fight Club. Coming to America, and Space Odyssey 2001. Heat. Edit. Thanks for the awards. Lord of the Rings. To me it feels like the best ever made movies. The whole trilogy I'd rate at number 1. The music is probably the best I ever heard in any movie. The acting is at its best. You could see fear in the eyes of orcs at Rohirrim Charge. By the way, that music there and the horn are just straight goosebumps. You could see fear in the eyes of orcs. And hope. And disappointment without looking to close and wondering what emotion the actor is trying to portray. And yes, it should be director's cut. Or I am going to pretend I never met that person. Army of Darkness, fucking classic. The Prestige. Willow. I still haven't bought it but on DVD yet. Mean Girls. Amazing how many people don't watch it because they assume it's some dumb girls movie. I recommend No Country to Old Men. To all my film school students all the time. Why? Because film school students are terrified of silence and prone to drenching their short films in songs and musical scores, and as a result they can come off as really amateur efforts. No Country for Old Men has no musical score. Yet the film is still extremely tense when it needs to be. The silence enhances the tension in that film and it feels more authentic for it. Not that music never works, of course it can. But students try to cover every second of their film with background music, and that music then ends up doing all the work in dictating and manipulating the viewer's experience, when that should be done by the acting, directing and visual elements of the film. Since they are required to have permission to use whatever music they decide on using. They often go for cheap or free music, which often isn't very subtle, or it is extremely insipid piano tracks that just scream student film. I try my best to convince them that they can do without music. But it is an uphill battle. Heathers. Hands down my favorite movie ever. Forrest Gump. Edit. My most upvoted comment is just 2 words. Hey folks. Be careful answering this question. Please. What's your favorite movie? Is a common security question for identifying yourself, e.g., when recovering an account password. Posting information such as this openly is commonly used by malicious people to hijack accounts. Remember a few years ago when you were encouraged to post your porn name, which you constructed with the formula first pet's name, and street you grew up on? Yeah, same thing. Not quite as nefarious, but quizzes and articles like headlines from the day you were born, or celebrities that came from your hometown, also collect more information than you really should be giving up. Protect yourselves. Ex Machina. Lucky number 11. I still can't believe I missed it when it came out and it had to be recommended to me years later. Rat Race. It depends. If they're into serious movies, I say Silence of the Lambs. If they're gay like me, I say To Wong Fu. Thanks for Everything. Julie Newmar. If they like shitty movies, I say Cool World. It really depends on who I'm talking to. Though I think everyone on Earth should watch Young Frankenstein. Pulp Fiction. Tropic Thunder. Man from U.N.C.L.E. One of the best action movies I've seen. Braveheart. Best movie ever for me. The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly.